Passed down from one generation to another, the tales of the entity and the Phase Expanse have always captured the imagination of the Arjan people. Beginning with the first Taiyizu and the legend of their distant shores, it spoke to a longing they held over the greater sphere, as if a memory of an old home, no longer within reach. Despite its prominence, however, the truth of this extraordinary being remained a mystery to the Arjan people. Until the year 4038, when the Phaselander crew embarked on an expedition to the Karakoa homeworld, and finally gave answers to age-old questions about the entity and the purpose behind its biological mechanisms. As clear as the Kyhan explorers once described, there it was, a tangle of roots, visible only through the Phase Expanse. It formed a vast canopy above the greater sphere, as though a barrier that protected the world below. Upon our descent, the scale of it all became even more apparent. The tendrils that strayed from its surface easily dwarfed our vessel, and in the distance, clusters of enormous growth could be seen swaying to the currents of the Phase Expanse. Were these the offspring of the entity, the beginning of new worlds referenced in the Elanjani scriptures? The crew and I began to wonder. Kyhan and his crew would spend a number of days exploring the canopy before continuing their expedition to the surface of the planet. In that time, they observed strange new life forms, collected a variety of samples, and witnessed something that would change their perspective on the entity. It was on the 5th day of our excursion into the canopy that we observed a most astounding event. The clusters we presumed as the offspring of the entity had begun to move. In a span of several hours, the tendrils which tethered them to the surface coiled in on themselves, rattling as they gradually built tension. In the blink of an eye and a flicker of our instruments, the tendrils erupted, launching cluster after cluster out into the void. The crew fell silent. The weight of what we had witnessed slowly dawned on us, but as our minds struggled with the revelation, the ship's sensors blared. Shockwaves, sent forth by the departing clusters, hurled us across the canopy and rendered our vessel inert. With each passing wave, our consciousness faded. Rattled and barely able to move, I fixed my gaze upon the viewport. One of the remaining clusters had shattered in its launch, spewing a miasma of material into the canopy, creating what I can only describe as a cavitation bubble. It propagated through the tangle of roots, forming turbulent eddies in its wake. From what first seemed like a dazed hallucination, the canopy sprung to life. Hundreds, if not thousands of tendrils, rushed forth, engulfing the cluster until its bubble ceased to exist. It is only after this event, and further exploration of the Karakoa homeworld, that the Arjan people began to piece together the true purpose of the canopy and the Phase Expanse. It was not a means to protect the world from external forces, but instead a way for the entity to rear its offspring and prevent self-contamination. Those that survive would voyage across Seritar's wake, finding new worlds and cultivating new iterations of life, mirroring what the entity once did, 1 billion years ago, upon the greater sphere.